work rate looked really hard. He looked like one of those players that could grab the game by the scruff of the neck when things weren't going well and make something himself. He's got a spark is something, whether it's taking a shot from distance or dragging players out of position and making more space for other guys and getting them the ball. That kind of like, I wouldn't say leadership, but just the influence and impact that a player like him can have. I don't really see it from anyone else right now. Commons can have that. I think he has the ability for it. Forrest does have the ability to do it, and I think McGregor will have that in the future. I'm not really seeing it at the moment. I just don't see when we're going forward. It's kind of reminding me of a lot of times under Strachan. I felt that we'd move up the field, pass, all very, very short passing, with no kind of longish passing to stretch the defence or making runs behind people. What would happen is the other team's defence would compress and kind of sit in two banks of four or a 4 and a 5. We'd go up to the edge of the box and would not be able to find a pass and would not be able to find an opening, and would punt the ball out to McGeady on the left wing, because even he was playing inverted on the left hand side a lot when I had a season ticket down in the south stand, and it would just be this kind of thing where the rest of the Celtic team would be like, right, let's give it to McGeady and hope he can beat two people and cross the ball to Venegar or Hesselink. And I think some of the goals, like probably about 15% of our goals, came from just doing that and hoping McGeady can beat two players. We don't have a guy who can beat two players at the minute, but I think it's the same situation where we're getting down to the edge of the box. It's pass. There isn't the killer ball there. It's just like everybody's just giving it back to the next guy and nobody's really taking ownership of making a chance. So yeah, I don't think there's anyone really that's got the killer ball and the killer vision. But Tonev and Wakaso were brought in, as far as I'm aware, because they needed speed. I thought it would be this concept where we'd be really stretching teams and really getting behind teams and pulling them out of position and hopefully getting a lot of crosses into our target man. The only problem with that in Scotland is that you can't stretch teams in Scotland because they park the bus and then put all their men behind the ball. So it's like getting a winger and trying to get him to where does he run to? It's not like Wakaso and Tonev, if you're these real speed merchants, you really want them playing against a team that have a high line. So I don't know how effective this really is at the moment. I just feel that you've got a target man in the middle, either Guidetti and Skipovic, who is completely isolated, who's not getting supported by the man behind him, because at the minute that's Commons and he just wants to shoot every time he has the ball, or McGregor, same thing. And then you've got Tonev and Wasako, who are meant to be pulling guys apart and getting crosses in, not doing that either, and not Tonev, not Wakaso, not Commons, not McGregor, not Burgett, or Stokes for that matter, has a ball has the clever ball, has the intelligent pass in at the feet of the striker to make that work either. So we're not getting the ball to him to his head, we're not getting the ball to his feet, we're not really doing anything at all. I mean, am I just panicking too soon, or is it just something that's going to come, or what's the situation here?
No, I don't think you're panicking, and what I think you're doing is you're acting like everyone else. You're worried about the future because you're not quite sure that even if it was the way you thought it was going to go, you're just afraid that you don't think Dyla can handle it.
Yeah, I just don't know. I think he's put all his eggs in one basket, and
listen, man, I'm right there with you. I am worried at this point in time that they've dismantled the team they had, the way they were playing. They brought in these players, and I'm really. I mean, look, listen. The tweet of the day for me was this. And Paulie Walnuts on Twitter said, "We need to play our full strength team on Wednesday." Now, I am not a very, how can we say, I fly too much to rely on, we'll call it, things that are very, very, what would be the term you look for? Like, I don't put a lot of faith in things that are traditions or, rituals.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Things that happen over and over again by mistake. I don't worry about. I mean, I put faith in the fact that people do hard work. Okay. Here's the issue I have. We need to play our full strength team on Wednesday. When things like this start to show up over and over again, last time we said this, we went up to Inverness, and what happened? We got a loss. Came back, played it at home against Marlborough, and what happened? We got a loss. didn't play our full strength team, and now when I start to see patterns, I'm worried. And I'll tell you what, and the reason why you're saying those things, I'm looking past it. And we haven't discussed this yet, but I'm looking past what you're saying, thinking I've got concerns because if this pattern happens again, it's not something that's just, I'm looking at it and it's just, like a witch's head and I'm praying over it and it just happens by mistake. This is a pattern that continues to happen. We've basically destroyed the team to be able to play this method and this process as compared to what we were doing before. And now all of a sudden, we don't have the leadership for it.
I don't know if we destroyed the team. I think there were suggestions where I think Paul Larkin on Twitter was slightly worried. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he suggested there could possibly be a situation where there could be a turnover at the club similar to what Mowbray done to the club when we were going into transfer window deadline day. Fortunately, that didn't happen. I don't think that I think the situation is where we're not in the Mowbray situation where we're missing players. We're missing one or two elements, but the spine of the team is there, right? The shell of the team is what we've got is okay. We're just missing one or two pieces of the puzzle that will make it run better. I think at the moment, I think we were going to talk about this later, but I think one of the problems is 4-2-3-1. I just don't see that being our strength. And I hate these cliches of playing the Celtic way and all that, so I'm not going to go into any of that. But I just don't think it's going to really work in Scotland at the minute. I think we're not going to score a lot of goals from it. We're lacking that, the creativity, the vision, and the passing to make this work. The fitness thing's great and all that, of like having these pacey wingers, but if Aberdeen and all these other teams are just like putting men behind the ball and not committing men forward, then what's the point in having a super fast winger? At the moment, our wing backs are being told to stay home a little bit more than normal. If that's the case, why not commit to a 4-4-2 again? Because I don't. We previously didn't.
I don't buy that. I think the reason why you see the wing backs are being told to stay home is because you have Effie on the right. And you just can't.
Yeah. Well, at the moment, if we've not got,
look, Izzy was up and down the left side in the last 2 days.
Yeah.
The last 2 games.
I'm not saying this is true, but in the kind of Celtic Twitter universe, the rumour has spread that this is the situation, that we want our fullbacks to hang back a little bit more. And if we are playing this 4-2-3-1 thing at the minute, then that would probably be part of the parcel of not bombing forward and overlapping that much, because you leave yourself with basically 2 men at the back and 2 men in the middle. So I don't know, but see with the personnel that we've all just mentioned there, why not move to a 4-4-2 and just give that a chance to breathe a little bit? Because I wouldn't normally say play a 4-4-2 with 2 wingers, because you commit too many men forward and all that. But I tell you what, Castle, the way he was running up and down the field, looked like he could probably put in a challenge. He looked a bit like, I don't want to make comparisons of a Gap, but looked something similar to that, where he was getting back and making challenges, but then getting forward and getting towards the byline. So I wouldn't mind that on the left-hand side. I don't think Tonev could play that. Maybe him on one side, McGregor on the other, or Brown and Johansson in the middle, and then either Skopovic and Guidetti with Commons up front, or maybe Skopovic and Guidetti together might be a bit too physical, a bit too much of the Hartson and Sutton playing together. But I'm not too sure. But do you think that potentially would benefit from a change of formation, or am I just not giving a chance to Ronnie's revolution in the club? Am I bailing on it too quickly? Sorry.
No, I think you're asking the right questions, and I'm hoping that you'll be correct. I'm hoping that it's just a matter of time. As I said earlier, I think there's some changes that need to take place in there. I'm just concerned. You follow me? I'm really just concerned that what we're looking at down the road is him just not. I mean, if we end up, we get knocked out by Hearts on Wednesday.
Yep.
And we're 4 or 5 points back, and I don't think Europa's going to save them.
No. I think the cups have increased relevance this year on the basis of, I'm not one of these believers of, the Scottish First Division is great because it's got Hearts, Hibs and Rangers in it. Nah, fuck that. But I think that because 3 high-profile clubs are in the First Division rather than the Premier Division, the League Cup particularly, which doesn't have a lot of relevance a lot of the time, has a increased value. And especially when you've got a new Celtic manager, getting your hand on your first trophy is really, really important. So I'd love us to win the League Cup this year. I'd be right up for that. Whereas in other years, I'd be prepared to sacrifice it. We're not playing the Champions League. I want to try and win everything in front of us. I can't see us winning the treble this year, to be honest with you. I can barely see us winning the fucking league. Well, I know they will win the league, but like, you know what I mean? It's just like, at the moment, we seem to be struggling to get any form of run of form together.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think, and I know what I think, but I mean, do you think we should just pick our top 11 and just hammer the fuck out of people?
Ronnie needs to find out what his top 11 is, because I don't think he knows what it is at the minute. I don't think I know what it is. I've got a piece of paper in front of me and I'm trying to move things about, and I honestly don't know. I know what my back four is. My back four is definitely Izzy, Denier, Van Dijk, and Lustig. I'm happy with that. And like I was saying, I'm not having kittens over Effie Ambrose playing it at the minute, because he's, in my opinion, my fourth string player at the back in that position. And I think that Ambrose would work as a backup centre half for us. I think that's what his role is going to be at the club. The midfield.
Here's the tweet of the week that goes with what you just said. This is hilarious. This guy Maradazzi7 said, Effie Ambrose is the kind of guy I'd like to go out with, go out on a night of the town with, give a hug, be my pal, but not necessarily play for my football team.
I'd potentially say that as well. He seems like a nice guy, but like I slagged Stokes on this show earlier in the episode, right? I can take Stokes in a role, and that role for me is coming off the bench with 20 minutes to go, right? And doing something, whereas I wouldn't start him. Now, Effie Ambrose to me isn't a starter. However, like, he can potentially come off the bench, not off the bench, but if Van Dijk's injured or Denier pulls his hamstring, God forbid,
stopgap,
I'd quite happily have him to play. I mean, and like, I remember we had guys like Ulrich Larsson with Martin O'Neill. It was Mialbi, Volgaren, and Baldi who'd play at the back, but Big Ulrich would come in and do as a shift, and he'd be a good utility player to come in and do that, you know. So I'm more than happy for Effie to do that. I'm more than happy for Stokes to be a wee impact player coming off and doing stuff. However, I just don't trust him to put in the performances anymore, to be honest with you. But I think he's more suited to that role. But at the moment, I think that, you know how we mentioned we've got maybe 4 or 5 players that can sit in the holding 2, and we've got about 6 players that can sit in the 1, and we've got 2 players or maybe 3 players that can sit in the the 3, and then about 3 players that can play in the 1 for the 2-3-1. It's, at the moment, it feels like putting all the names in a bag, shaking up the bag, and just picking out fucking 6 names. So I don't know. I really don't know in this formation what the best situation is. I think I probably would prefer to move to a 4-4-2 at the moment. I feel a lot more comfortable with that.
And you know what? I think you're right that it probably would be. And my whole point of asking that to you is really I'm asking you to prove my point. The fact that we don't know, the fact that we keep getting these inconsistent performances, really shows me that you're right. He doesn't know, but he better damn well figure that shit out quick, because it's getting to be the time when this shit is going to actually start really, really counting. And I mean, how far down we have, because I mean, for every week that we're behind points, we got to find places to pick those points up when it comes down to the league. Now, do I think we will? I do, and I say that with trepidation. I do. Moving past that, do I think we can win a cup here or there? I do, but once again, there's a hint of insecurity in my voice. Do I think we can get to the knockout stages of Europa? I do, but he can't just say, "Well, my strongest team is going to be for Europa or cups." I'm beginning to really, really doubt that. That's the reason why I'm saying,
Hold on a wee moment, though. I think that a lot of people on Twitter today exploded, being like, "Oh my God, you're resting players. Who are you resting them for? Playing against Hearts?" I don't think it was a particularly weakened squad today that went out.
Still,
I don't think it was particularly weakened.
But here's the reason why, Paul, you can't rest them, and I'm gonna prove to you why. The amount of attack continuity in this team absolutely blows. And the only way you get that together, the same thing as last year, like I was talking about earlier, the same thing as last year, we started scoring goals in bunches from 3/4 of the way. I mean, between 2/3 of the way, a third of the way through the season, all the way through the end of the season. We ended up scoring more goals